Hello, and welcome to another episode of the ID Talk podcast. My name is Tony Bitzionis, and I'm here with my good friend and colleague, Mr. Alex Perala. Alex, welcome back from New York.
Thank you, Tony. Happy to be back. It was a great visit. It was really interesting to go and tour the headquarters of ID R&D, a Mitek company. Yeah, I have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, I am aware. I saw the footage, I edited the footage, and I agree it was really, really interesting. And in fact, we're going to be joined shortly by CEO Alexey Khitrov for some follow-up questions about your visit there.
Yep, and before we get to that, I just want to urge everyone who's listening, if you haven't already, to check out the video. It's you can find a link to it in the notes for this show, whatever podcast app you're using to listen. You can also go to findbiometrics.com. It's all over the place. It's in our features section. It's in our interviews section. So definitely check it out. Um, it's a video of me basically just touring the offices and getting a look at the deepfake technology they work with, and in particular the deepfake detection technology that they work with. We've never done this before. We've never actually got to see inside somebody's lab, which was super fascinating, since this is technology that we write about all the time and have been for years. So it was really fascinating to get a look behind the curtain, and they've got cutting edge stuff, and they're a really nice team. So it was actually like genuinely kind of a fun time for me. I'm sorry you couldn't come, Tony.
I bet you are. And I second that it's fascinating, and at times I think you would agree a little unsettling,
It's unsettling.
Few
Yes,
specific moments, which I think listeners/viewers will probably know what we're talking about when they watch the video.
Yep.
Okay, so without further ado, let's talk to Alexey, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, and now we're joined by Alexey Khitrov, CEO of ID R&D, a Mitek company, and he's joining us today to talk a little bit more about the tour that Alex got to go on of the ID R&D headquarters in New York City a couple of weeks ago. Alexey, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Welcome, Alexey.
Great to see you again, Alex.
Yeah,
you're not sick and tired of Alex, I see. That's good.
No, I think it was a very fun visit, and we very much welcomed an opportunity to show how we're working on some of the cutting edge liveness and deepfake detection capabilities, and maybe and demonstrate some of the products that will be hitting the market soon.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun to watch. I did feel a little jealous not having been there with you guys, but it looked like you got into some pretty cool stuff, and I guess that will lead me into a first just sort of general question about the solution, because I thought it was really, really interesting that you can have it running in the background of a Zoom call, just to detect, as you showed with, I think it was both of us, two very unsettling images detected right away. But so I guess, how does that exactly work? Is it something that as the user, do you have to queue it up and then you can just open Zoom, or do you do it through Zoom? Is it how would that work?
So let me answer kind of at two levels. One is how does experience work for the end user, and what actually happens in the background. What kind of technologies are we using to address the issue of the deepfakes? And what we showed Alex and what we showed Alex in the office was first, we demonstrated the ability to distinguish between a selfie of a person and a picture that was digitally manipulated or created by Gen AI. So the first step, we need to kind of develop and build a technology that can consume an image and say, this is an actual person, or this is a product of digital manipulation or a deepfake. And the quality of those deepfakes, the quality of those face swaps that we're seeing in the market right now that are readily available for everybody is really good. And one of the things that I think that Alex was quite was shocked to see a little bit when we created a fake person that to whom we attached the Alex's face, and then we run it through a facial recognition engine, and the facial recognition engine said that created new persona with Alex's face. On top of it, is almost 100% biometric match to an actual image of Alex. So that just shows how good the deepfakes are, and how serious and real the threat of the deepfakes to the existing biometrics and authentication systems. So that's the first step. Ability to take a look at the image and say whether it's a deepfake or not. So we run that face swapped Alex through the very reputable facial recognition engine and got a near 100%. And then we run the same image through our deepfake detection server, and it showed immediately that it is indeed a deepfake. So that's the that's the core functionality, the core technology, core set of algorithms and neural networks that allow us to then deploy this technology across various types of use cases. So, and one use case is a pretty straightforward application of this for KYC purposes, for IDV purposes, for authentication purposes, where along with a biometric check, one would just quickly run that image against for the deepfake check. So let's make sure it's not a deepfake before we actually do the biometric matching. Because the current the current state of the deepfake quality is such that it can easily fool one, and we've seen it in the office. So that's the core technology that we've been working on for quite some time. That's the deepfake detection functionality. That's a deepfake detection product. Now, the next step, what we showed Alex and what we talked about, and that's kind of at the core of your questions. Then we applied this capability to the to the communication we in the video conferencing platform, right? Because some of the the scariest stories that we hear from the market has to do with somebody joining a Zoom call and somebody directing, people in the finance department to transfer millions of dollars, and then after the transaction would go through, that person from finance, called the CEO and asked, like, why did we send those money to this ABC LLC somewhere else, like in some foreign country, to learn that, well, I never called you on Zoom. Like I never asked you to do it, right? And it would turn out that it was actually a deepfake that used the the real life face swap and voice clone detection to completely assume the identity on somebody on that channel. And it is especially scary because traditionally, Zoom and video conferencing were thought to be the safe harbor of the communication and identity. Some of the countries actually don't allow remote onboarding or account opening unless you connect with that individual on Zoom and present yourself. So
Right.
That's the safest way to make sure that that person exists and this is the right person. And what we're seeing on the market, what we're seeing with the latest generations of Gen AI capabilities, that's not the case anymore. So we got to protect that channel. We got to give the enterprise and individuals an ability to verify that they're talking to actual people, not some type of a deep fakes, not some type of a Gen AI face swaps and voice clones that so easy to deploy right now. And that's what we showed Alex, where where one of our researchers was able to quickly change faces, if we within the same Zoom call, and assume various identities very easily just with a few clicks on his screen, and to the person on the other end of that video call, like he would just look like Keanu Reeves or like me or like Alex. So and what we build is the capability that can monitor the video conferencing communication and alert the user, alert the host that you're talking now to the deepfake. So the way it works is that we're deploying multi layers of checks. Some of them are more kind of software checks. Some of them are AI-based checks based on that deepfake capability that we just talked about when we just look at the image and look for the artifacts or the digital manipulation. And that allows this deepfake detection in real time within the video conferencing capability. So for the end user, if I'm starting a Zoom call and that function is enabled, what I'm seeing is just a little sign in the corner of my screen that just confirms that I'm talking to an actual person. So at ID R&D, we've always been very conscious about the importance of the user experience, or more specifically about the lack of the user experience when it comes to security features. Because nobody's waking up in the morning and is excited about, I'm going to do some biometrics right now. No, you want to get somewhere with your life, and whatever you need to do for security purposes, that's a friction in your experience. So the less you ask a person to do, the better. So so all of the products that we do you deploy in the market are frictionless. So we're trying to make sure that we solve the security problems, not at the expense of the user experience, not at the expense of the kind of inconvenience of the process. We're not trying to kind of to pass the buck to the user. Well, now blink 3 times and jump 1 time on the right leg to make sure that that there's an actual person in front of the screen. But we actually use the data that we can extract from the signal, from the video, from the image, and run our AI-based analysis of the image and in search for those artifacts that would tell us this is not a person, but some type of digital manipulation. So in this case, we also, and it's a very important for us, there are no additional steps that anybody on that call need to make sure that I'm a person, not a deepfake. You're just going on with the call, with the conversation that you have, and what we're doing is just we're constantly monitoring and making sure that I, as a host, would see that the people on that call are indeed people and not somebody trying to inject the video with the face swap or some type of deepfake.
It's really interesting because, like you said, that the average person is not considering that somebody that they're talking to on a Zoom call might not be a real person. I mean, that might change going forward with higher profile attacks like the one that you mentioned, because we had talked about, I think, that specific case or one similar to it a few weeks ago on the show. And so when I saw that in the demo video, I was like, wow, that's really cool that you can just know while being on the Zoom call, because I was like, oh, presumably you have to run this through some sort of a thing and you have to be on top of it and you got to make sure you're doing your due diligence, because if you just miss that one day where you do your checks, maybe you're accidentally wiring $25 million to the wrong company, or, making some sort of huge, massive fraud that you are not aware of. So to see that it is something that is frictionless, that runs in the background, is very, very cool, because the deepfakes of Alex and myself and of Keanu, it's incredible. I mean, I could say, oh, I recognize Alex's features over Dennis's face, and I could tell the difference maybe, but not if I'm on a Zoom call with someone that I work with that I have not met before. And like you said, the facial recognition, it was a 99.2.3% match. So it is designed to fool, and it will fool you. So having that running in the background is just that's where it clicked for me, where I was like, right, okay, that's how we're really like protecting people from this sort of stuff. Alex, I'm sorry. I feel like
Yeah, no, I just want to jump in and I mean, if you're listening this far, hopefully you've already watched the video, but if you haven't, like listeners, I urge you to go and actually watch the video. Click the link in the show description for it, or go to our site. It's all over our site.
yeah,
It's a really interesting video, and you can see exactly what Alexey and Tony were just talking about, because it really is a Zoom call. Like I was kind of surprised when I saw it. It was just Zoom running, and it had this little thing that said live or deepfake, and it was that simple. So I was impressed with how lightweight it was, and to see it actually in a piece of like commercial software that will be familiar to anybody who's done any remote work, which is probably everyone listening to this show.
at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we see a lot of interest to this type of capabilities from the enterprise to secure internal communications, and we all spend a big chunk of our working day, on various Zoom calls or team calls or WebEx calls or whatever the platform is, to avoid the fraud cases like you mentioned. There's a big wave of HR type of fraud when people kind of present a different identity during the interviews, and then defraud the organizations that hire them. So there's a lot going on in the market, and we're seeing a big spike in all of these type of cases, and the ability to provide this security without kind of additional inconveniences, kind of additional instructions. I think that's one of the very important features of all of this product, and I'm very glad that it came across this way.
It definitely did. I did want to ask also, because you mentioned kind of it looks at a bunch of different, I guess, layers to determine if something is a deep fake. One thing I'm always curious about, and I don't know how much you can really explain this in layman's terms that I'm gonna understand, but just like when it's I look at, you showed me a photo. I think this was before or when we were not on camera, but you showed me a synthetic image or a couple of them that looked completely real to me, and you were just showing me that they do, like, the system can still detect that they're fake, but I can't detect that they're fake. So like, what is it actually looking at to make that determination? What can the AI see that the human eye can't see? And I know the answer is probably too complicated to fully explain, but if you can give like a couple examples, I would be interested.
So first of all, we as humans have very high opinions of ourselves, and we kind of surprised that, oh my God, I can tell the difference. If you think about it, the technology outpaced human abilities for quite some time now, right? We're not surprised that car is running faster than Usain Bolt. And any car. So the ability of the technology to do something than a human, I think this is a kind of a natural state of affairs, not the unusual one. So when it comes to security here, that's why kind of the humans are the weak links at this point. And what we're looking at is the artifacts that where some of them are visible. Like if you have the watermark on the screen, like some of the open source deepfake engines or the GenAI engines, they leave some watermarks. So we look for them. Sometimes when people present screens, you can see the borders, and there are a lot of different kind of more obvious and more obvious signs of an attack that we can detect. And at ID R&D, we have a lot of experience in these type of signs, because we have products that provide presentation attack detection, which means that these are the products that can distinguish between a human and a picture of a person, being it on a screen, being printed, or being in a mask, so like a person or not a person in front of the screen. So we have a lot of expertise in kind of in seeing those kind of obvious and visible artifacts. But there are a lot of invisible artifacts, because when we train uh, our neural networks to find those small things, and sometimes it goes down to the way that you know the pixelation is organized in the image and so on. So and that's where and at that point I will leave the kind of the exact details of what we're looking for, and specifically in which part of the picture we're looking, and some of the other details to myself, because I think it's better than we don't AI advertise them, so the bad guys would not have some not to give some additional ideas to the bad guys.
Yeah, trade secrets.
Exactly.
That's a great point. So Alexey, can you kind of walk us through like a typical testing process when you guys aren't doing a demo video? I mean, I saw Dennis in the video. Big fan of Dennis. I was never get the image of Alex's face on Dennis's or mine on Dennis's out of my
Mm-hmm.
head ever, and I'm okay with that. But
Mm-hmm.
how many people do you typically have working on these tests? Is it like is every day different? Is it, you're testing to continually improve the algorithms, or you're responding to a specific technological change with deepfakes, or how does it work?
So this is, of course, a continuous work, and that the team is doing. And one of the kind of key challenges in deepfake detection is that there's a countless number of different engines that are capable of producing deepfakes, or can help people to use the tools of digital manipulation to kind of change the appearances, change the faces, do the face swaps, and so on and so forth. So, and all the companies that produce this type of software, and by the way, a lot of this technology is a great technology that has a lot of legitimate use and very positive impact to our lives. So these companies are updating their products constantly. So the key challenge to the deepfake detection capability is that it's not chasing every single engine and every single new algorithm, or every single product that produces these type of imagery, but that the algorithms are reaching the point of universalization. So it looks for the artifacts that are um, that are seen on across all these engines that are applicable um, to all sorts of digital manipulations and deepfakes, and that's why it's such a difficult task to do, and that's why it takes um, you know kind of a very strong R&D organizations like ours to actually achieve that objective of universalization of the deepfake detection, when you don't depend on training on a particular engine or on a particular solution to uh, to provide the security. So it is a continuous work, and we do a lot of work with train different types of neural networks on increasingly sophisticated data sets that we're building. And when it comes to testing and training, there are a lot of the kind of intricacies that going to that work, because we want to make sure that the results are universal across the different engines, but also that we don't run into the some sort of the discrimination problems, right? When, like a few years back, there was a lot of the conversations about how AI can be discriminative to certain demographic groups. And it was I think that it was a very important wake-up call for the whole industry, that is something that needs to be kind of designed into products when it comes to facial recognition, liveness, deepfake detection, so on. And on our side at ID R&D, we actually initiated world's first demographic bias test for the facial liveness capabilities, and we published the results of that test that was conducted by an independently certified lab in Australia, Bitzionis. So a lot of details goes into that work, both on creating of that technology and testing it.
I had a somewhat kind of related question. Other than, just so I get like a better understanding in my own mind, other than masks and like pictures, what other tools do you use? Like how does testing I just have this image of, because you mentioned in the video, of Dennis putting a mask on and then just staring into a camera for a bit, and then you guys check the kind of the readouts and then you make adjustments. Is that how it works?
Well, that's part of the work, but this is a very small part. So it's all these algorithms. It's they're based on machine learning and neural networks. So it's a lot of the computations goes into it. So it's more more on the training side and working with large data sets rather than just an army of people putting masks on and off in front of the camera. So we don't have that factory floor with 2,000 people kind of doing that, and thankfully more the current level of technology doesn't rely on that. You did kind of allude to two different methods, and I think this is an important question, because we talked today about the facial the facial liveness and deepfake detection on the imagery. What we've also been working on for quite some time is protection against voice cloning. Because if we're thinking about, again, that example from and that use case from Hong Kong, when the CEO, with the fake CEO called an employee, that fake persona was complete by, one, the face, but secondly, the voice.
Right.
So, and right now the voice clone capabilities are really good. Right, so clones can you can teach a clone to speak like a target speaker, like a target speaker very quickly based on fairly short audio clips, and then you can have that you can essentially have this software speak like that person that you're targeting. Again, it's actually a very positive technology that produces a lot of fantastic capabilities. One of my favorite is the real-time translation. So you can be on the call with your colleagues in the or clients in a foreign land, and you will speak in your native tongue, but they will hear your voice speaking in their own language, but with your natural tone, which is, I think, is incredible capability that helps people to communicate in a much more natural way. But the flip side of that is that the bad guys, again, can use this type of capabilities for fraudulent purposes. So we've been working for quite some time on our ability to distinguish between natural voices, or live voices of people, and the voices that were created synthetically, being just kind of just synthetic voices that are available on the internet, or targeted voices, or the voice clones, where you can create a voice of a particular individual, again, very quickly, and complete that persona within with the face in the video and the image. So that's an important kind of second layer of protection that especially applicable to the video conferencing and in protecting organizations and the individuals from the attacks in this channel. So at ID R&D we've been working on the voice liveness and replay attack detection and the voice clone detection for a number of years now. You know, we participated with a number of international benchmarks and happy to lead this industry with the quality of the technology that we have. And when you combine these two things together, I think that's create a very strong protection for this channel, because you're essentially making sure that you're not attacked based on image, but also based on the voice, because at any time, as we know from our Zoom call experiences, anybody can turn the camera off and you get a name or you get a picture, and then all you hear is just the voice.
Mm-hmm.
So you really should have this dual protection for this channel, and we think that the ability to add voice is a very important component.
That's an interesting point, especially because I guess like what we see more and more is videos that combine both and that incorporate both things. And I suppose if you really only need to catch one of them. Like if you're looking at a video and the video is good, but you see that you detect that the voice is fake, then you know something's up. Yeah, but kind of zooming out to your general R&D efforts, when I was there in the office, I came in like towards the end of the day. There were a few people in the office, most notably Dennis, who's figured prominently in the video, but a couple other people as well. But I was wondering, because this came up, we had a live ID Talk event recently, and we got a question from a participant about how big the research team is. And I didn't know. So I'm just curious, because when I was visiting you, I think you mentioned there was a Barcelona office or some office in
Barcelona.
Yeah. Okay. So like, how big is the team? Like, how many people do you have working on this stuff? I'm going to be impressed either way. If you say 500, I'll be like, I guess that's what it takes. And if you say 5, I'll be like, wow, 5 people are doing this. But I am curious.
Yeah, it's somewhere. Yeah, it's somewhere in between. We do have R&D facility in Barcelona. That's where the majority of our R&D team is located, and that's where the majority of the work is being done on the kind of core technology side. So so the office that you saw here is just a kind of smaller outpost with with a few technical guys, where the majority of the people working out of Barcelona. So, but it's also it's not quantity. I think it's quality. And our approach historically, and we continue with that, is to really kind of build and nurture this R&D culture where our team is an active participant in the scientific community. So you know, we are participating in all the key scientific conferences on this. You know, like lately we just participated in the CVRP on the more on the image side. We're participating in the interspeech on the voice side, and I can list these conferences. We're also participating in a lot of the international benchmarks and challenges, where different teams from both kind of commercial companies like ourselves and in academia participate and kind of test and benchmark these capabilities to see the kind of what the state of the art systems can do, and then share some of the findings. And so we're very active participants of this community, and we believe that through this effort we can really kind of provide our customers assurances that they're truly getting the best tech that's available right now.
That's great. Well, Alexey, we've taken up way too much of your time. Thank you so much for taking the time to have this chat with us. Once again, everyone, please be sure to check the video out. It's 15 minutes, 16 minutes long, and it's super interesting. I have one more question for you before you go.
Wait,
And
before
that
you
is,
ask your question, Tony, I also want to add, Alexey, thank you to you and the team for being very hospitable hosts when I came to visit. It was great to meet you and the team. Thank you for letting me raid your fridge.
well, that was going to be my question.
It was a
How
hot
many
day.
donuts?
It was a
How many
hot day.
donuts did Alex eat?
I needed my share of LaCroix, but it was really nice to meet you, and the team is very friendly. So thank you, Alexey.
Yeah, and thank you for coming. You know, we're very our doors are always open. So maybe you can come back in a few months, and you'll see the next generation of technologies and capabilities that our team is working on.
That would be great. But sorry, Tony, I interrupted your final question.
No, you answered it. Answered it. It was how many donuts, but you said you stuck to the LaCroix, so my curiosity is satisfied.
And my thirst was satisfied. And on that note, yes, here. Thanks for talking with us today, Alex.
Of course. Thank you very much.